Welcome everyone, Simon here from the Whales of Wall Street. We have a quant video here for you guys today, QNT on the exchange. So this is one of our top projects in our portfolio here at the Whales of Wall Street. Made it quite clear of our observations of this incredible technology, platform, solution, whatever you want to call it. For me, this is one of the most crucial projects out there. One that's, I guess if you're in the know within the blockchain crypto sphere, you will know what these guys are going to be capable of doing, who they're partnering with, who they're working with, what they're doing solution-wise. And those outside, probably some people may just see it as a token, but if you do a deep dive, not just with our previous videos, but go around the block, guys, because there are some phenomenal channels out there, like Crypto Airy, for example, Crypto Mason, a few others to mention, I'm sure, out there that have been following this whole pattern of like Zimfin and Quant, all of these big companies, arguably still under the radar, despite Quant's price point. I don't think there are many people that talk about this significantly. And for me, this is one of those ones that caught my eye a while back, a couple of years ago. And once I understood, those that don't know, I work in Web3 and blockchain, so I understand the magnitude of some of the things that they're looking to achieve. One of those things being CBDCs, interoperability. I'm particularly interested in their cloud operation. If you look at the enticement there with Oracle, for example, we'll go into that in another video anyway, because there's a big conversation to be had around cloud in general. But back to Quant here, we're looking at this article. This one here was from the 24th, a few days ago. Made or written by Gilbert Verdian, CEO of Quant. Now, interestingly, he's a very interesting advisor actually for a number of other crypto projects. Worth having a bit of a deep dive into that as well, see which ones he's advising for. But we can do a video on that for sure if anyone wants to see that. We've got quite a few of his projects that he's not necessarily working for, but obviously advising in some capacity. But anyway, this topic here about blockchain shedding its toxic reputation. Now, of course, the merge happened recently on Ethereum, moving it from the proof of work mechanism to the proof of stake, thus reducing its carbon footprint in a matter of many applications. This is one of the big teething issues, if you like, of blockchain over the years. It's been this whole conversation around the environmental friendliness, sustainability, etc. I mean, eventually, this proof of work mechanism just can't be sustainable in regards to the levels of climate change or reductions or targets, etc. So it's come to this point, but the guys here at Quant make some interesting observations about CBDCs, right? Which we'll go on to in one of the other articles, but for this one right now is around sustainability and the impact of this. Now, what I want to make clear, this isn't something that's just happened overnight or something that's been thought about in the last few weeks or last few months because of an energy crisis or anything like this. The fact of the matter is blockchain is going to be taking over every incremental thing you can possibly think of in terms of automation, transportation, supply chain, healthcare. We've named this many times on many different videos and different projects. This is what blockchain was about. And they talk here about a greener, more cost-efficient blockchain could form part of the answer and reduce the institution's huge IT costs and expenditures. Well, I know a few companies that use Cardano as for their smart contract technology. It's not just the only chain that does that, of course, but there are multiple ones. But my point being is that obviously I can't mention the company's names for legalities and stuff, but the interesting thing about smart contracts, of course, is arguably further down the line reducing the need for people to an extent because of automation, because of tracking, tracing, verification, processing, done within milliseconds rather than days or months. And if you think about a transactional perspective, you can make some significant dents, I would say, for a lot of the costs as a business. And blockchain can remove a lot of this cost, at the detriment of society to an extent. I'll come to that in a point when we talk about the CBDCs article, because you know my thoughts on that. There's two ways that CBDCs can go, irrespective of how much I love Quant or not, and other projects. The fact of the matter is you cannot hide from the two paths that will be put in front of us very soon, irrespective of whether 99% of the population actually know whether there's a choice or not. They'll just see the end game of it. Anyway, we digress. So talking about all these IT costs and reductions there, and the reduction of carbon footprint and things like this. This was always the plan for blockchain, long term, for many years, and we could arguably say over a decade now, since the formulation of Bitcoin in 2007. And can you believe that we're entering around that 15-year mark now, which is crazy. So what's interesting here is thinking about that concept of the removal of people. I always thought about this aspect of like estate agents soon, where we'd see like projects like Proppy and I'm sure real estate solutions will come to the likes of Quant and other major projects out there as well, is that you don't need the intermediaries anymore, because you have smart contract going from point A to point B, i.e. the transaction of you and I if we're buying and selling a house together. Because of KYC and KYB, know your business, know your customer, and the other mechanisms of blockchain technology in terms of verification, processing, history, any extensions you've done in your house would be recorded on blockchain as well, through the materials, through the costs, and giving a more accurate valuation and price based on the algorithm of the world, based on the algorithm of the market in your region, your city, your country. All of these things factored in within milliseconds. And in terms of the contract swapping or the deed swapping, this can be done in a matter of hours, maybe even minutes, compared to the 6 months, 3 months, however long houses take these days to buy and sell. And you take that kind of quantifiable point into the other areas of business around the world, in other areas of this reduction of cost in terms of being more efficient, more cost effective. This is where we see the great technology and solution, but you also have to sit there and go, well, what does this do for the people? Because then when we're further down the line, are we going to have any people left with money or anything to do in the first place? Well, that video, guys, is going to be around BUI and other things, basic universal income and some other topics. I have that video hopefully coming out tomorrow. I think you guys will find it really interesting in the mindset of what's to come. So this is a really interesting point. The other point here about CBDCs, the benefits of CBDCs and designing a system that delivers them. Now, may I remind you that all of the things going on around the world right now are systematic. They're all connected. Whether you believe the theatrics of media or not is down to you. But the things I know and the people I know what's coming with CBDCs. Whether we like it or not, this is the way they will always go. The central banks, the banking systems will always win. We talk about decentralization and the opportunity for Bitcoin and this, that, and the other. And we can dream and we can still hope. There's still an element of hope. There's still a couple of years to try and sort this out and raise awareness of this opportunity. But for now, with the path that we're taking, with the powers that be, like the World Economic Forum, the central bank systems, and all the people that we know on our TV screens, Liz Truss, Sunak, all of them, they all work for the same people. And CBDCs have a good side, a bad side, a technological amazing side, but also a technological bad side. So for me, with a pinch of salt, I always said this in many videos, if you're investing in crypto and you're trying to make money off it, etc., you're essentially partially investing in the demise of society in one way or another. We'll go on to that point in the next video that I mentioned just a moment ago. But my point being about CBDCs, and this is really interesting because it does touch on the things like cross-border payments, both the efficiency, the speed, the reduction in cost, the reduction in exchange rates, all this stuff is a great thing for the economy to move forward faster, quicker, better, and hopefully for everyone in the world to some capacity. However, with CBDCs, with the tracking traceability factor, the things that we've seen. I really wish I could tell you all the things for the next video, but there's a method to the madness, as it were. But the CBDCs, of course, being potentially a tracking and controlling method as well, as more people become unemployed and struggling with finances. A system is coming where they will provide money to you on a weekly or monthly basis. You will own nothing, be happy. That sentiment is very powerful for the years to come. And CBDCs, of course, have this aspect and ability to be switched on and off as the banking systems or governments perceive to want to do. So where we have, if you want to call it freedom of money, I always think that banks don't have any money. It's all IOU at the end of the day. If you know the monetary system and you know the history of banking and how banking works, you will know for a fact that the money in your bank is not actually yours as such. It's an IOU. There's a big whole conversation we could be discussing about that. But anyway, with CBDCs, yes, there's a technological advancement of potentially removing things like fraud and money laundering, tax evasion, all these things. But the other side of it is the attention of a control mechanism. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. It's not. It sounds like a crazy thing to say. Trust me, if you do the research properly, like I do all the time, and as I said, the people I know, the systems I know that are coming, particularly with governments, you only have to look left, right, and centre as to how the World Economic Forum has trickled down towards the governments. Well, if you want to call them governments, they're all puppets to that system anyway. How it all trickles down to bring in this new financial system, this new financial world: play to earn, view to earn, move to earn, eat to earn, learn to earn. All of these things will interlace with each other, and it would be the same thing as well. If you don't do this, you won't get this. If you do this, we won't allow you to have this money or travel or this, that, and the other. There were stepping stones in place for the last few years. I think we'll go through that in the video as well. But my point being is, Quant, fantastic technology, fantastic solution. CBDC pilots are going on everywhere around the world. Just be cautious, guys, that there will be two paths of this. And is it going into the right hands or not? And who's making the decisions? I'm not talking about the projects. I'm talking about the people above that. Who's making the decisions for us? When do we get a say? Well, we're not going to. So just be wary of this, guys. I like to be balanced with everything. I'm an investor. I find these technology exciting. I have my goals for 2025 based around the financial systems being switched on, to make some decisions of exiting and doing this, doing that. But for now, we just have to be cautious of what's to come. Be aware, be educated, make decisions for yourselves before you get sucked into things that you may not be able to get out of. One last thing before we go into the chart, guys: the SIBOS event. SIBOS, not sure how you say this one, but this is a massive financial event where all the world's biggest financial companies, banks, you name it, are here under one roof. What I like about this, on the exhibitors page, you see a lot of the names that are already associated with each other. For example, R3, Accenture, etc. You also see some other interesting ones. AWS, part of Amazon, of course, for the cloud service and supply chain, etc. Those that don't know, Amazon have been hiring blockchain analysts and experts left, right, and center for some time now. But as you scroll down, you see all the big banking names here. Brilliant to see this in conjunction with a lot of other central bank systems, federal systems. Swift are even going to this, guys. Bear in mind all the networking that's going to be going on here. The old ex-employees, maybe Andre Kosterman, for example, used to do a lot for Swift, will be there, I'm sure, for the capacity of R3 and Zinfin. We know Quant are going to this as well, but we do see a lot of blockchain companies in this one for sure this year. Microsoft Azure are doing a lot in blockchain at the moment, of course, as well. And as you see, the banking. Bear in mind, we did the video a while back, especially with NatWest, where they are now sending information out to their business customers about ISO 20022, blockchain DLT technology. It's all coming together, guys. Trust me, the next couple of years, 2025 is always the day I said, November 2025. That's the target at the moment via the BIS, etc., for the RTGS, the new remittance system, coming into play to replace Swift, CHAPS, and all these other archaic systems. And these names, guys, are working together. I have no doubts. SIX here, 6, massive. Again, relations to Zimfin and all these projects together. This is where it all comes together, guys, over the next couple of years. These guys talk to each other. These guys interact with each other. They create the interoperability between each other. WadsPay, and of course, who can forget the likes of MasterCard, Visa. This is going to be a fantastic event. I don't know if I can actually go to... Well, actually, I can't attend anyway. I'm in Ibiza. Yes, I like to party. Everybody does. So let's think about this in the capacity of like all of these talking to each other at some point, but also we know look, there's a clearinghouse here as well. This is crazy. We think in the media and everything that these guys aren't working together already. They're 100%. RTGS Globals, come on, put the dots together, guys. You know what's coming. It's all happening whether we like it or not. All this talk about, we're creating innovation systems and hubs in our city to explore blockchain and cryptocurrency. These guys have known this for years. They're not stupid. Like, they're all bankers. Like, we have Sunak, for example, who worked for many banks, especially in the 2008 crash, etc., all the way through to today. These guys aren't stupid. They've been doing it for years. It's just theatre for us to think that, this is really exciting and it might or might not come. Of course it's coming. They're all here together in this conference. Crazy. Guys, I've waffled on enough. Let's jump into the chart because we have seen some crazy movements on Quant. Of course, these articles have come out in the last few days. We've had QuarterCon, etc. as well. This all takes effect on the price of Quant, in my opinion, because everything that comes out of Quant is bullish. Very exciting news, very informative, very innovative as well. So we take this lower point back here from the 7th of September, about 3 weeks ago, 67, nearly 68% rise, guys. This is phenomenal. And the price point going from 87 to 147, I think it was. Let's have a look at that high quickly earlier today. I think it was 145. Okay, cool. So not quite 147. So people have been asking me in my group chats on Telegram and also in comments, like, what we're thinking with Quant. Is it going to keep going? Is it going to find support here and keep going up? Well, the momentum at the moment is very high. We'll go into the RSIs in a second because that is interesting data to look at for sure. But I go back to my point that I've made in previous videos. The area that we were previously at, around 87, I do anticipate us to potentially test this area again at some point over the next few weeks or month or whatever, purely because of the lack of support in this area. Right, we've got big black holes here, and there is an opportunity for us to say that this is not an official support line. We've had a big rise up because of the updates, because of the news, the influx of people coming into Quant and understanding it more, having the awareness of Quant in their minds. It's no surprise to me why it's doing so well. And more people understanding CBDCs and the interaction of what these guys are doing with other projects, right? So we have to take that into consideration. But first of all, the bounce back I would anticipate to be around this 130 mark. Now, if we can support here or around this, around the 130 mark, I'll start pricking my ears up a bit more and seeing if we can get some support levels there. But for me, this drive up has been quite significant. We need to get some stability on the way back down to test these regions, to have a proper move up properly. We saw one previously here in July 2021, and of course that came down eventually when the whole market sort of started diving down from November, December last year, if you remember. Can you believe that was nearly a year ago? So since then, we've been tracking back down and trying to observe these potential support lines around these areas. So we're on the way up. If I'm new to Quant, or I'm jumping in because I've just heard all Quant's moving, this, that, and the other, and you're trying to FOMO in, well, please don't do that necessarily. Always analyze the charts historically, understand where it's come from, where it is now. It's really important that you do that. But for me, if I was seeing Quant for the first time, we're at this mark already, 136. So you could argue that right now we're facing this point back here in August. Okay, last time we did that was around this area here in February, and back at that point we rejected it. We climbed over it. It rejected it significantly, and we saw the traipse down like we did with pretty much all projects, to be honest. Okay, so this is an opportunity for a DCA area. This means that we don't chuck all our money in straight away. It's just maybe a small portion of it to understand that we probably might be coming down. We'll go into the RSIs in a minute to confirm this or not. The next points down would be around these areas. I'm just drawing lines because they're at top and bottom levels. This is also in line with all the ones we drew in before, and particularly if you look at this big drop down here, I think this is one of the big Bitcoin future failures back here in December 5th or 4th it was, I think. But this traction around here is so significant, particularly at the lower areas. This matches up with some of the most recent high points. So my anticipation is that at least at some point we need to come back and track down at these 120 marks. Now, one other observation to make is Bitcoin, okay? Irrespective of how different some of the projects might be, Bitcoin has a huge detrimental effect to the whole crypto market, the confidence, everything. Now, my anticipation still is that Bitcoin can still come down to that $15,000 to $12,000 mark. Call me crazy, whatever. This is my anticipation based on the history of Bitcoin's chart and support lines and resistance lines, just as we're looking at the Quant one here. Now, if that is to come down to that level, we could see back down to those 87 marks and maybe even potentially still a bit lower, okay? It's difficult to comprehend that because we're in such an upward trend with Quant. There is an argument to say that Quant could be a new area of value and holding money in because of its strength in the project, the solution, the technology, and everything like this. So, there's an argument on that side for sure as well. But for me, I'm just being cautious. That is my next low point down here around about 120. Okay, we're currently at the 136. This has been a great ride so far, but for me, that is my next buy area around about 118, 119. Okay, I'm not going to look at any lower than that just yet until we get to this area. But if I'm to anticipate the future and we are coming on the way down, yes, of course, I always love this area just over the 100. It's around 102-ish, and then also just slightly under around $97. So they're the two areas of interest for me right now. We'll leave that in there for the next chart video that we do with Quant. So here you can see is a strong buy mode here on the right, 32% up on the week. Let's have a look at the RSIs here. This is going to give me an indication of, am I being stupid if I jump into Quant right now? Well, the answer is it's at 73. This is very high. There's an opportunity for it to still go a bit higher with the momentum that it's got. But for me right now, this is teetering on the edge of being like, well, I don't want to go like crazy on this, but certainly this could be a good small area to accumulate potentially. That being said, on the 28-day, which is a bit more of a longer aspect of the indicators here, the relative strength index, is saying 63. So it's just above that kind of halfway mark, isn't it? And it is teetering on being that sort of third quarter high, medium to high area. So for me, as I said, I'm a bit cautious about this. There's been a big, massive jump here on the MACD as well. The gap has widened quite significantly and quite quickly. As I said, the news has been great the last few days. SIBOS is coming up. This could be interesting as well. Buy the rumor, sell the news, as they say. Could they have something announcing at SIBOS that's going to be so significant, and then the drop comes like everyone saw with the merger and all this stuff? This is how it happens, guys. People know things in the background. The volumes kick in. FOMO comes in. People jump in, see numbers. They don't understand why. And then all of a sudden it crashes and everyone's like, well, why has that happened? And they release news and people go, oh, this is going to go to the moon. It never goes to the moon. It comes back down because everyone's already made the money off the rumor. So just bear that in mind. The other thing as well, in the 90-day, this is the only thing I would say from the long-term perspective, is that me personally, I'm not selling Quant But I'm not selling it for a few years because of the systems that are coming and what Quant will do, right? So for me, on a 90-day basis, if I was a trader on a longer term, like 3 to 6 months, this is a good area position to be purchasing, but nowhere near yet as good as it was, maybe a few weeks back. But for now, for the long term, there could be a good little entry point there potentially. So there's a few things to digest there. So to recap really briefly is to suggest that this is on its way up. Be cautious. We're at the higher ends of the spectrum. That's not to say it won't go up any higher, but just assess the risk. I've seen too many times, including with myself, personally investing a few years back, making that mistake of jumping in, seeing a rise and thinking, oh wow, this keeps going and going. Understand why it's moving and what's coming in the near future. We've already mentioned some areas of why it's going up, and mentioned areas of why we think that there's an event coming that will maybe stipulate what happens to this over the next couple of weeks. Keep an eye on it all, guys. It's not just about following charts and this, that, and the other. You have to understand the whole spectrum. So, guys, wow, that's 26 minutes. I'm going to be recording the next video that I'll release tomorrow, all about BUI and the World Economic Forum and all the things coming with CBDCs, things to be wary of. I'm sure it'll be fun. Hopefully you enjoy watching it or listening to it as well. We're going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next quant video. Take care and bye-bye.